welcome back to the channel, and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Well, we are here. It is the final retro review of the L Word, and sorry if it's a little bit echoey in here. This is my last day in this apartment, so it is kind of funny that I'm ending the retro reviews in this apartment, moving to my new place tomorrow, and there's just so many other things tying up, like Generation Q season 2. They're moving into filming the finale at the moment, so May they'll be wrapping everything up, and I'm just, it's been a very strange road doing these retro reviews, because when we started, Generation Q season 1 had just finished, the world was still normal, and I definitely didn't think that we'd be finishing the retro review before we saw season 2, and I certainly didn't think there was going to be a pandemic and lockdowns and everything in between, and the channel has also grown so much since then, so just thank you for being on this windy, crazy road, and I will be doing Generation Q going forward, season 1 reviews, and then hopefully we'll be starting to get trailers and things after that. So it's nothing but good L Word content going on from here. So just thank you for being along on this ride with me and Miss G, and for being so kind and patient with me and the channel, because this, when I started, it was all new to me, and I'm no whiz by any means, but I hope that it's slowly improving. So I love you guys, and thank you so much for going along this crazy journey with me. So let's get into the final episode of the L Word, and for all those people who tell me I don't criticize the show enough, this is the episode for you, because this is the final season 6, episode 8, last word. But I also, and maybe this is controversial, I believe this is the worst episode of the L Word. And just to kind of give my reasoning as to why I think that, one, I think season 6 is just the worst, and the fact that this is a season finale and the series finale, it is just so bad. So bad. Every aspect of this, I do not know what they were possibly thinking, and obviously I'll talk way more about it with each character. So starting off with Jenny. This is also the first time I've watched the finale since I've seen Generation Q, so I was kind of looking at it in a bit of a different way, because we obviously know now we know what happened to Jenny, or what we're being led to believe. I did really enjoy, they had one of the Gen Q crew members on to Ellen Back, the podcast. I think it was not last week, the week before. And the guest was Shannon. I believe she was Jennifer and Leisha's PA, and she was talking about how when she was younger she was Angelina Jolie's PA, so she definitely had some really interesting stories. And I follow her on Instagram too. Like, the first season she put up some really cool pictures and like behind the scenes stuff, and she was a really good guest on the podcast. She was giving like little stories and stuff. And she was saying how when they shot the scene where Jennifer Beals reveals, Jenny died on her property, and she, word I can't say on YouTube, herself, Shannon was saying that Jennifer Beals actually was like, well, I killed her stuff, and was explaining to other people on the set, like, oh, like, she believes that Bette killed, and that. And I honestly, I've always said that if I had to pick who killed her, I always thought it was Bette. Like, she had the absolute motivation to do it, and like, come on, out of all of them, can we not see Bette getting this job done? So in my head, that's my own little canon. But I also noticed some lines that I definitely didn't look at in the same way before. When they're editing, and well, actually, they're editing the video for Bettina, Jenny is, and Shane brings Jenny Final Cut Pro, but Jenny is editing the video. What is she using? And also, the type of video that Jenny's doing, like, iMovie'd be fine, girl. Like, you do not need Final Cut Pro. And obviously this was 12 years ago, but this episode came out the year I was graduating from university, and one of my degrees is in film. So we had Final Cut Pro, and we used to have to make like trailers and documentaries and things for projects. And yeah, Jenny just definitely did not need to be using Final Cut Pro for this video. I think that as a whole, I've talked about this in the other episodes of this season. I just do not know why they brought in this element, because even if they knew that they wanted to make a spin-off, why did it have to be about prison? Like, why couldn't you just do a spin-off about Alice being a talk show host or whatever it was? That it just didn't need this forced element of a murder mystery that was never solved. And looking back, just when they're interviewing all of them in those scenes with Lucy Lawless and they're in the police station, obviously think they were going for some sort of, they're very close up and the lighting is very harsh, but it just looks bad. Like, everyone's makeup in those scenes, like the lighting is terrible, everyone's eyebrows, it makes everyone look really washed out. And it really ages everyone too, which is just not the sort of framing and things you would do on middle-aged women. Like, or anyone middle-aged, or I just don't even know why you would want to shoot people in this way, because you want to portray the most flattering version of people, especially in a show like The L Word, where the whole everyone is beautiful is a huge aspect of the show. And anytime I see those clips from the interrogation rooms, it just makes me think about those god-awful interrogation tapes, which they literally gave us this finale that was so terrible, and then they were just like, how can we make this even worse? And just like keep, landing those blows of, it really just... I don't know what they were thinking with the storyline, and they surely, if they were going to have Lucy Lawless on the show, they could have used her in some better way than putting the cast in the most washed out, terrible lighting, terrible, like, close shots. Just, they were awful. I also just think the fact that Jenny was making this tape was just bizarre, because why would Jenny, when she's going through this whole thing with Bette, and she obviously is the person who took the negatives, and her and Tina have like had this ongoing, I know they kind of made up in the season 5 finale because, well, there was no reasoning for them making up, but they just did, and it didn't make any sense to me why Jenny would be doing all of this when literally Bette wants to murder her. I'll talk about Jenny a bit more as we go through, but Shane, this is not the first time I'm going to say this, but the whole thing with Molly and stuff, it just was so carelessly thought out and so rushed, and I think those were the main themes of the finale, was rushed and not caring, because it just was this quick little scene. And I mean, they did finally tie up something of the 127 loose threads throughout the whole show, so we did get it tied up about the jacket and the letter from the first episode. Sorry if you hear this, it's just randomly started hailing like out of nowhere. And the Molly thing was Shane's storyline for the finale, and well, they never did really break up, but just her kind of turning against Jenny, and then not only finding the letter, but finding the negatives and bringing Tina over, And I just feel as though Shane is one of the main characters of the show. Like, I mean, the people we've had since the very beginning have been in all 6 seasons. I just think of them as Alice, Bette, Tina, Shane, and Jenny as like the main cast members. They are the ones that have, you know, been the main storylines, and they've been in every season. There's people that obviously have joined them along the way, and then you have people like Kit and Max that have been in most of the seasons and been in the main cast for all that time. But they stripped away so many I feel like nobody shone in this finale, because Shane just was relegated to Molly's 2-3 minute scene, and that was like it. That was Shane's big moment of the finale, apart from running out to buy Final Cut Pro. Like, what was that about? So Kit, again, just really not much going on. They had this scene where Kit and Sunset Boulevard bring Angie in. I think they've been like to the zoo or something, and it was so bizarre when they had Angie calling Sunset Boulevard, who'd literally been around for, well, again, time does not exist in the L Word, but a few weeks maybe, and she's calling him dad. Like, it was just odd. The best Kit scene was when Jennifer Beals and Pam Grier were in the new bedroom, and Kit confronts Bette about seeing Jenny's tape. It was so short, and that scene, all it made me think of is, I cannot believe you have Jennifer Beals and Pam Grier in your show as regulars, as main cast members, and this is what you're giving them? Are you joking? Like, oh, it was just so awful. Like, I cannot stress enough how much I hate the finale. It is truly abysmal, and I don't think there's any redeeming things about it. I've said before to you guys, I normally watch the episode once through and just watch it, and then I watch it again and I take like all my notes, and then I'll go back and watch like a few key scenes and stuff. But I watched this finale on Monday or Tuesday, and I didn't rewatch it again until last night, Saturday night, because I just couldn't face it. I couldn't. I was like, I cannot watch this episode again. And I never rewatch this episode because it disappoints me every single time. And that's why I'm also like, thank God we have Generation Q, because if this was the L Word's lasting legacy, I'm so glad. So Max, why would we expect anything else from Max's character? Literally is just there in the finale. They have this one tiny scene where Max tells Bette and Tina that the baby kicked, and this is the last Bette and Tina scene for the show. For the entire series, the main couple that like arguably is, you know, like most people like Bette and Tina. There are extreme varying degrees, like, and there's people that don't like them at all. There's people that, you know, that's the only thing they like about the show, and no matter what, like, they are the main couple on the L Word. And the last scene of them, not one but two people are mentioning that they're going to get sweatshirts. Like, this is the dialogue, this is what you are wasting minutes and lines from your series finale on. I can like feel my blood pressure going up. So just because it's the finale, if you haven't watched Disclosure on Netflix, go and watch it, because it's just a great documentary, one, but two, there's a whole section on Max, why the portrayal was so problematic, And Leo Shang and Jamie Clayton from Generation Q are in the documentary, as well as a host of other awesome people. So definitely check that out if you haven't seen it before. So Helena and Dylan, they just, I mean, the last season, they kind of turned Helena into this person who, I mean, it seems as though they're trying to portray her as an alcoholic, because they constantly, she always has a drink, and then they're showing, you know, she's drinking very early and all these things, and it's like anytime she's somewhat stressed, and it's like, so it just seems like Dylan and alcohol is like Helena's storyline for the final season. And I know that there's some people who really like Dylan and Helena, but I am just not here for it. I find it so boring. I fast forward some of their scenes because, well, like that really long, and like they didn't even have music in one of the sex scenes from, I think it was the episode before last. I just couldn't watch. I had to fast forward it, and I never fast forward the L word. And when Jenny comes over and they're just having this argument, and this is the last episode. Like, why are you doing this in the last episode? It just makes no sense. Like, a show like the L Word, you know, it's supposed to be a fun, campy, like, beautiful women, and you make a finale like the Friends finale, where you're leaving your audience with this, like, these characters that you've had for years and everybody loves for the most part. You should be sending them off into the sunset and like spinning them off, so that if there's another show that you need to create or whatever it is, and putting them off all on some journey. Like when they have that really nice scene in Friends where they all put down their keys and they all are going to get coffee together, like something like that, where this isn't some super serious, you know, like Breaking Bad or The Sopranos, where there's all this drama and all this. It's the frickin' L Word. Like, I love this show to death, but it's a fun show. It's not a serious drama. So why are you making it like this? I feel like this is just gonna be like half an hour of me yelling. But Tasha and Alice, no one is wasted more in this finale than Tasha and Alice, because Tasha isn't even really in it. Like, for the middle chunk, she's gone. And Alice kind of they have this conversation at the planet, Tasha, Alice, and Jamie, and why you would have this conversation not only at a public place but at your friend's restaurant is just bizarre. And I feel as though they literally had 2 weeks to shoot all 8 episodes. They had $100 budget. They had someone who's never lit a TV show before in their life. They had 3 sets, which was the planet, Hit Club, and Bettina's house that was vaguely based on Bettina's house previously, because even though they've just supposedly added this staircase and the upstairs, like, it does not resemble Bettina's house at all for the most part. And again, like, this is the finale. Bet has lived in this house through the whole show. Like, we should be in her house feeling like, oh, this is the show we love and the characters and everything, and not, why are we in this strange location that means nothing, because then they're also going to New York. Like, it's not even like this is their new base that we can imagine them in when, you know, the show ends and they move on with their lives without us being able to see what happens. So it's just odd. And the whole Tasha going off with Jamie, and like, you should have, if you wanted to do this for whatever reason, you should have done this in the penultimate episode, and then Tasha coming back to Alice and being with the group that she's been a part of for 3 seasons why? Like, why would you get rid of her character for over half of the finale? And Alice is just shoved aside and is given this like spinning out storyline where all she talks about is Tasha and Jamie, and everyone's just like, yeah, Alice, okay. And that's it. And then that is evaporated whenever obviously Tasha comes back. And you're wasting Leisha Haley with this again? Like, I really, really feel bad for the actresses, because they're all great, like, and you have some really awesome people on this show, and this is what you've given them. Like, oh my gosh, it's just, so Tina and Bette, again, I feel as though with Shane, with Alice and Tasha, there was like nothing, slash they had this little tiny scene that was just super rushed and like not thought out. They had the scene where they're like in the bedroom and Bette like asked Tina to marry her, but it just, I felt like there was no thought behind it. It was just super, it's like someone in the writing room was like, oh well, sugar, we haven't actually, you know, wrapped Bette and Tina up, and you know all these people will be asking about them, so just quickly throw in a proposal there and you know, end it like that. Like, they really, if they wanted to give back to all these fans who really enjoyed Bette and Tina all these seasons, there should have been more, some sort of focus on what's going on, and I just feel like it was nothing. And the last time we see them like away from the group, like together on screen, is when people are going to get their sweaters. Like, what a waste, what a waste. And just overall, I'm gonna again use this like rushed and just not thought out. So Jenny, you know, is doing that tape, and they have Tim and Carmen and Marina and Ivan and Angus all doing tapes to Bette and Tina. And I just feel like that was so lazy, just to put these people back in the finale to be able to say, oh, Carmen's in the finale or whatever, because it just, they're not interacting with the cast. We're not getting any update on them whatsoever. Like, literally, I don't even think most of those people were on set. I think they sent in the videos, because I think I remember reading something about Sarah Shahi like doing hers from some other set. I think that's when she was on that show Life, but it was just like lazy, and not, it was like last minute they were like, oh, it's a finale, we should have some of the old cast back, oh quick, just shove them in there like that. So it didn't seem like any, like, I forget sometimes that they're in it, because it's like 2 seconds and it's done. And just again to really, really drive home how terrible I thought this bit was how we end and we do not find out what happened to Jenny, what happened to anyone, and they have this like 5 minutes of the finale of everyone slow walking to the camera. And I remember watching this finale live, and I love the show, like, and that's the thing. Bottom line, yes, this episode is terrible, but I love the L Word. I really do. And obviously, like, I feel the same way about Generation Q, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't like the show. Like, I'm not gonna make a channel and devote a lot of my free time to talking about it if I don't like it. Like, I really, really do. And when season 6 was airing, like, I had come out, I think when it was season 4 was airing, and I was in university. I graduated the year this came out, and it was like that time in my life too where I was in young 20s and I was out and I had like a community and going to all the gay bars and things. And I loved the show, and it was a big thing. Like, we used to have watch parties, and it was a part of the like culture. Like, everybody watched the L Word on Sunday nights and talked about it on Monday, and you talked about what was going to happen and things. And I had a big party at my house in Florida to watch the finale, and I remember just everyone being so angry. And when the finale, like the bit where everybody's walking into the police station and it just ends, and I was like, there has to be more. Like, there has to be a scene at the end or something. And then that thing comes up about thanks for 6 great seasons, when really it's like thanks for 6 wildly inconsistent seasons. And then also, like, everyone that was at my house was so annoyed. I spoke to even more people and everyone was like, did you see the finale? And then going online, and again, this was before really, I had Facebook and stuff, but it was before social media like we have it now, and message boards and things like After Ellen and Order Strat and all those things. And just, I don't think I've ever come across anyone who has said, oh, I really like the finale. Like, there's some people who like elements of it, like little scenes or little bits, but overall, I really, please, if there's someone out there who likes the finale, please tell me that you do, because I have never, ever come across anyone who does. And it was just such a disappointment. And I think this is just one of the reasons also that Generation Q is here. And now I feel as though we paid the price with a terrible finale. But if everything had been really wrapped up nicely, like say season 6 was amazing and season 5 and 6 were awesome and the storylines made sense and the finale wrapped everything up in a really nice way and everyone went off into the sunset, you maybe wouldn't have wanted to mess with that with Generation Q. So I think that having the really bad finale was a little part of the reason that we did end up getting Generation Q, because I think better than anyone, Jennifer, Alicia and Kate know how awful it was. Because I mean, maybe I'm looking way too much into it, and like to some extent, we all see what we want to see, but I just feel like you can feel it in the final season. I feel like a lot of people are very checked out, and there's a lot of lines that I just feel wouldn't have made it in there normally. Like, they would have come across some sort of resistance from the actors, and I just feel as though everybody was like, we have 8 episodes, this is the last season, we didn't really know what was going to happen, so let's just make it and be done with it. Because I just don't feel as though this season, if it was season 3 or something else, that it ever would have come out this way. And that is pretty much it for not only this episode, not only this season, but for the L Word. So I am going to do a video a little bit going over everything, like what I've thought rewatching the show now in this time period. And again, this is the first time that I've obviously watched the show after watching Generation Q, and just how different I feel, if anything. I will be starting to do Generation Q reviews, because when I started my channel, I started with episode 6, so I'm going to do the first 5 episodes. I have done re-reviews of episodes 6 and 7. I'll link them in the cards above. So I won't be re-reviewing those ones, because I only did those like a couple of months ago. But I will redo the finale, so episodes 1 through 5 and episode 8, because it's just, I was really, like, those were my first videos on YouTube, and they're not the greatest. So I would like to talk about all those episodes a bit more, and also because I was doing it straight after I'd watched the episode, and now I've rewatched it a few times, been able to think about it a bit more, and then also having the hindsight of seeing the entire season. So those will be starting next week. As I said, I am moving, so for the beginning of the week I might not be as around as I normally am, but you know, I'm only moving down the road. It's not a huge thing like when I'm going UK to America or America to UK. So Miss G and I don't have far to go. Overall, I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comment section, and I am starting a new giveaway on my channel, starting with this video and going through until I do the finale of Gen Q. If you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment your favorite moment from the episode, be tough to find one here, down in the comment section, then you'll be entered into a draw to win a piece of merch from my channel. And I also have the link to my merch store in the drop down box below, the info box. And if you want to support the channel, that's a great way to do it, and to also get a cool piece of merch for when we're watching Generation Q Season 2. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram and Facebook. That's where I post pretty much every day. So if you want to keep up to date on everything that's going on, I've been posting a lot of like little Generation Q news, like filming news in my stories and things, because I find that that's like quite a quick and easy way to do it when there is information but not enough to make like a video. So if you want to catch up on all those things, I save them in a Generation Q Season 2 highlight, so you can go and view all the stories. And we've been getting some pictures from people who live near where they're filming and things, so those are pretty interesting to look at too. And also don't forget, on Fridays I go live at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific. I probably will be doing on Instagram this week because again I'm moving, and the first week I have to use like a 4G router because they can't come until the week after to install my thing because we're in lockdown. So look out for me on Instagram this week, but obviously next week I'll just carry on as normal on YouTube. And usually we discuss just everything that's happened that week, filming news wise and Season 2 news wise. So make sure to pop by into those if you can. And you can always rewatch them afterwards if you can't make the exact times. So there's a playlist on my channel that's lives, and you can just go and rewatch them afterwards too. I do have some videos coming soon, some new stuff that some people have requested, and I have been saying for a while that I'm working on kind of a Bette psychoanalysis video, and I'll do the other characters afterwards of course too, and then I have another few little things that I'm working on. So lots more content coming on the channel, so make sure that you're subscribed and make sure that you hit the bell notification so that you know every time I post a video, and you'll be the first to know about the Generation Q Season 2 news. As I said at the start, they are wrapping filming next month. So I am hoping that that means they will give us a trailer next month, basically. Because I know they've held it back. Normally, we would have had a trailer by now. We'd probably have had 2 by now, and would be getting like a longer one soon. It's just because they're worried about filming being stopped because of C-19. So now that everything's nearly in the bag, they will hopefully be giving us a trailer soon, and we have waited a while. So I can't wait till that happens, and I will go live and do a reaction the second that anything comes out. So make sure that you keep your eyes peeled for a trailer as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you especially to everyone who's watched all of these retro reviews and been on this crazy wild journey, because even though we've been consistently doing retro reviews, there's been, you know, a lot going on in the real world, in the L world, in every type of world. So thank you so much to everyone who's been along for this ride. And I'll be back in a new location with a new show, Generation Q. So make sure that you stay tuned, stay subscribed, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.